What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are about to get into one of the most cringy topics that exists. I'm going to use the term alpha male not because I like it, but because I know y'all know the vibe that we're kind of talking about here, okay? Not the douchey like, oh, I'm an alpha male because I listen to Joe Rogan and do jujitsu and, I work out. Not talking about that. We're talking about the guy. Like the guy that's like, dude, he's an alpha male. Like, people respect him. Women want to be with him. He's powerful. He's capable. He's a leader. That's kind of what we're talking about here. Does that exist? How does it exist? What does it look like? Should we try to become one? What would it look like if we did, etc.? We're diving into that. This ties a lot into confidence, and this ties a lot into manhood and masculinity in ways that we're not going to get entirely into today, but tune in for this, and I know you won't regret it. Just learning how to parse out what it is, how to become one, and looking for the signs not only of an alpha man, but of an insecure man as well. We got to define our terms to start with. Let's go ahead and zoom in here on the iPad. I'm going to refer to this as the cringe spectrum, right? What is an alpha man? What does alpha mean? It means first, yeah? Alpha means first. Alpha is like the top dog, the first one, the leader. He should be, the first in the line of defense. If you look at like the animal kingdom, in male-dominated species, it's a male. The lead male, the alpha male, right? The silverback gorilla, the first to eat and the first in line of defense. Alpha is about being first. Now, what you have to understand is to be an alpha, to be the first, there has to be at least one other person. So this is a group context. There are at least two or more individuals if there is an alpha. This is a concept that's important later on. Alpha implies a hierarchy. Beta would imply that you are under or come after something or someone else. Stereotypical alpha male would be like the decent looking high school quarterback or star football player. What that looks like is he's respected among the boys and he's desired by the girls. He's popular. When he says things, people listen. He has those elements of the first man, the alpha man, right? But without the football team, without all the girls to watch him, without all of his teammates to be better than, he wouldn't be an alpha male. It requires a group context. And this is something we'll get into more later, but outside of that context, is he still an alpha, right? Because he could go to college and that's going to completely change. The group environment completely changes. So as we look at this spectrum here, this is really about two things. It's about confidence and capability. And these are both qualities that are desired by men and desired by women in a man. They want a man to be confident and capable, and we as men should be striving to become confident and capable. Now, the alpha part of it comes in only in a group context. Yes, you might be here, confident and capable, but compared to who? Compared to what? Maybe in high school, the confidence and capability of our high school quarterback was pretty good, but only in comparison to his other teammates at his small town high school. Maybe he was here and they were there, and so compared to them, he was the alpha male. But then he goes from small town high school to big city college, and now he's comparing himself to guys that are over here in their confidence and capabilities regarding football and game and women. So he is no longer the alpha male. And I am cringing a little bit inside every time I say that. I'm just trying to use terminology that people are going to vibe with a little bit. There's a sense in which you could say that when he moves into this group, he will no longer be an alpha, that he might be a beta now, or just not an alpha. I don't want to get too much into all the terms and stuff, but it is in comparison to the group, right? And this is where I want to call something out. There's a lot of Batman and lone wolf memes and all these kinds of things about the Sigma male. The Sigma male is one who does not conform to the social dynamics, the social structure and hierarchy that's taken place within the group. But the key word there is within the group, okay? Batman, for example, is very brooding and he's lonely, but when he's in a group, he becomes the alpha male. Okay, he's not a Sigma male. The Sigma male is somebody who's not outside of the group, but is inside of the group, acting outside of the group's norms. So the sigma male would still be in the group. That's the thing. A lot of y'all are basement dwelling hermits, and you go to the gym and maybe church and work, and you don't talk to anybody more than you have to, and you're feeling very lonely, and you think you're sigma male. You're not. You're just a hermit. You're just an antisocial person. That's very different than a sigma male. A sigma male is, in theory, right? This is not my doctrine per se, but it's somebody in theory who is in the group, yet does not conform to the hierarchy usually established by the alpha male. That's what a sigma male is. And in a sense, they have more power than anybody in the group because they don't conform to the norms at all, right? Even the alpha is usually only such because he has ascended a ladder which was set up for him by the system, right? So a lot of y'all, like the basement dwellers, the lone wolf guys, you're not sigma males, you're just antisocial. To be a sigma male actually would require a different kind of bravery than a lot of these people exhibit. All right, in summary, so to oversimplify, the alpha male of the group is the one that is considered most confident and capable. Now, that can be very activity or group specific, right? If you have a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu master versus an elite sniper, those guys are gonna both have their own set of capabilities and will probably be increasingly confident within their own capabilities, right? So if we're out, on the plains of Siberia with a bunch of guns and trying to fight for our lives, then who's probably gonna be the alpha? Probably the sniper, right? If we're in a group of guys who are rolling around on a mat for whatever reason, then yeah, probably the jiu-jitsu guy is gonna be the alpha there, and the sniper's not going to have as much say, right? Because in those different groups, different contexts, different capabilities matter more. So there's really two types of alphas that I want to discuss here. One is like, I don't even know if I spelled that right, siloed contextual or activity based, right? It's like the high school quarterback. It's like at your town, at your small town high school, you were the king, you were the alpha male. But if he steps outside of that, the same things that made him an alpha there may not necessarily make him an alpha somewhere else. It depends on if those capabilities he has as a high school quarterback are transferable. So we're talking about one type, the contextual, siloed, activity-based, and then the other type would be just more a general demeanor. This is just like, hey, I'm exhibiting confidence and capability no matter where I go. First, I want to talk about the capability side. We're not really going to talk about the ones that are contextual and siloed, like learning how to throw a football or sniper or jiu-jitsu. You get the point. The chess club master may feel like a real king in his element, but just because he's really good at chess doesn't mean he knows how to hunt and kill his own food in a survival scenario, right? Somebody else is going to be the alpha then. We're not going to dive any more into that. You guys get the point. So any alpha, whether they are a contextual alpha, like I'm the best chess player around these parts, or they're just an alpha in general, I'm competent and capable wherever I go, they're gonna have these capabilities. Whether you are the chess alpha or the football alpha within those zones. Outside of those zones, who knows? But within those zones, you are the top dog. You're gonna have, in chess, quick reaction, stable emotion, logical thinking, situational awareness, social aptitude. You're gonna have the capacity for danger, and you gotta be resourceful within chess. Right? Within football, it's the same thing. You have to have those things within football to be the alpha of that group. But you can also just have these things in general. The type of man that you and I want to be, and the type of man that all women want, is going to be the type of man who has these capabilities in any situation. Because guess what, guys? If you just have this list in chess, or you just have this list on the sports field, then you're going to be an incomplete human. You're going to be an incomplete man if you can only demonstrate these capabilities within a siloed area of expertise. For those of you who have been one-on-one clients, alignment is key here. We have to have alignment internally to exhibit these qualities everywhere. If you can learn to have quick reaction, stable emotion, logical thinking, situational awareness, social aptitude, be dangerous, be resourceful in any situation, now you're on the path to being what we would think of as just like, dude, no matter where he goes, he's kind of an alpha male. Now, still, you can run into other guys, even if you are great at all of these things, you can run into other guys for sure that have more than you, that are farther down the spectrum than you, and you wouldn't be the top dog in that group, right? That's It's all dependent on the group that you're in. But these are the capabilities that we all need to be pursuing as men. Unless she's lying to you, you will not find a woman that says she's not attracted to this combination of these things. Every woman wants a man with these things, and every man wants to have these things, right? So super quick breakdown here. Quick reaction is like a gut instinct thing, all right? Your ability to pop off immediately with instinct. We'll dive more into that later. Stable emotion is what it sounds like. We are level and stable with emotions, which is super important in high stress situations. Logical thinking, again, even in high stress situations, your ability to have that cool head and use your brain. You can only do that if you feel safe enough to not trigger fight or flight, right? So this has to rule the day in those situations. And situational awareness. Do you know what's going on? Or are you oblivious, naive? Social aptitude. This has to do with reading the room, and it has to do with communication. Can you communicate well with others as a leader? Capacity for danger. We can't trust you to protect yourself, much less the group, unless you have that capacity for danger. And you have to be resourceful because new situations can pop up all the time, and we have to be able to figure out new solutions to new problems. So again, no matter what you're doing in life, these things are going to come in handy for a man. So the other piece of quote unquote alpha behaviors is confident. Now, there's going to be some overlap here because guys who really root their confidence in themselves, which that's another topic, but guys who are rooted in themselves for confidence versus rooted in God for confidence will derive a lot of their confidence from gaining these capabilities. And funny enough, being confident will allow you to grow in these capabilities even more. So it's kind of cyclical chicken and egg. But what we're now going to look at is what the confident man looks like. So I want to be clear. This is not a list on how to be confident. This is a list on what it looks like when you are. Because I'll have a lot of guys, I'll go over this list with them. They'll be like, oh, take a screenshot and, let's write it down, send it to me later. And they want to study the list and become the list. Doesn't really work that way. There's a few things you can do on this list that will help you feel more confident. But really what's happening here is this is what you do when you are confident. The journey to becoming confident is not to try to do these things and copy the look. That's not going to work. So we're going to blow through this list real quick and we're going to start from the top and go to the bottom. The top is going to be more outer, and as we go down, it will become more inner. And the top is going to be more easy to fake. The bottom is going to be almost impossible to fake. As we begin here, the confident alpha male, I'm going to probably stop using alpha just because I hate it. We're going to go with confidence. The confident man is moving with an upright and open posture, okay? So he's upright and open. He's not downward and closed, right? This is about safety. If I'm downward and closed, that's a biological marker of I want to self-protect. It's kind of a fetal position. And I don't want to be seen, and I don't want my vital organs, which is what I'm self-soothing and covering up in this position, I don't want those to be exposed. So I'm closed down and I'm hunched over. That alpha confident man is upright and open. Another big one is unhurried movement. And again, guys, you can fake these and they will help you feel a little better. I'm not saying don't do that, but as we get further down the list, it's going to be harder and harder to fake. Unhurried movement is a really big one though. That's another thing that you do when you're feeling safe and not in a rush, right? So walking a little bit slower, moving a little bit slower, even talking a little bit slower sometimes. You're not trying to cram in every last word. You don't have to use as many words. You're not flailing your hands around when you talk, briskly walking everywhere like, oh my gosh, I'm late for a meeting. You have this settled, unhurried energy about you. Confidence. A bodily vocal resonance, okay? Inner circle, we've gone over this in depth with the difference in resonance, but this is not about having a deep voice, okay? Having a deep voice is nice. I mean, as a man, that's cool. But that's not what this is about. This is about where your voice is resonating. So the pitch of your voice is how deep it is versus how high it is. Again, that's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about the tone. Where does your voice resonate? So I'm going to talk at this note. It's going to be monotone at this note. So monotone speech at this note, resonating in the nose now. You hear the difference. I'm resonating in the nose. I'm resonating more now in the nose and the lips. It sounds kind of, fruity. I'm resonating more in the lips and nose, and now I'm bringing it down, and you can sense, even as my tone is not changing, I'm bringing it down I'm bringing the resonance down, and then it can go even deeper, right? The pitch is not changing. The pitch can be exactly the same and the tone can be very different. See how that works, guys? Hopefully that worked. I know my pitch wasn't perfectly the same the whole time, but you guys get the idea. You can have a deep voice and bad vocal resonance. The key here ties to the next point with slow and deep breath in the diaphragm, not quick, shallow breath in the chest. So when your tension, when your consciousness, when your awareness is stuck in your head and it's not in the body and the instinct, you tend to live up here. And that's why that voice becomes so much more in the head, so much more through the nose, so much more through the mouth and the lips, and not resonating in the chest. That saying, say it with your chest, means that you're really leaning into your body and your backbone and you're standing strong on what you say, as evidenced in how you say it. Part of the way we achieve that is relaxed musculature. It's the open posture, the upright, the unhurriedness, the slow, deep breath in the diaphragm. Diaphragmatic breathing is how we were designed to breathe. We shouldn't be in the chest all the time. That's like panicking, catching breath, stressed, tense, right? That's not what a confident, safe man does. I'm gonna give y'all some really good game here on your eyes. Okay, so relaxed but focused. There's two kind of stereotypes we're gonna see here, like predator eyes or prey eyes. So when the eyebrows are raised and the eyes are really big, you're like, oh my gosh, wow. Like big eyes and raised eyebrows, those are not relaxed. Okay, there's tension there, there's alertness there, which is good, but it's kind of like a deer, a doe in the wild, like, oh, what was that noise? Oh my gosh, what was that noise? Right? That's not confidence. That's not alpha behavior at all. What you want to have, or what a confident man does have, and as you guys can see, this gets harder and harder to fake the further down we go. And you can't, if you're trying to do all this stuff consciously, you're going to lose yourself. You're going to get so focused on like all the conscious things that you're not going to be able to just be a person. You're going to be obsessed with playing the part. It's going to look very stiff, fake, and robotic. Again, this is what it looks like, not necessarily how to get there. You guys know how to get there is a different story, but relaxed but focused eyes. So we're not going big with the raised eyebrows. The eyebrows are relaxed. Okay, the eyelids are relaxed, the upper eyelids are relaxed. Focused eyes has to do with something models will know about, something that actors will know about, and something that certain niches of psychology will know about. It's squinting a little. It's not necessarily squinting, but I want you to think about squinting a little bit. So you're narrowing the hole in which you can see through, right, when you squint. So I want you to think about squinting, but just with the lower eyelid, that's going to signal focus, right? So it's this lower eyelid flexation that doesn't include like the upper eyelid too. Like this is true squinting. We're not doing that. We're just flexing the lower eyelid a little bit to engage with focus. That'll help you just in conversations, by the way. It's something you can do if you're listening to someone, just thinking about flexing that lower lid just a little bit like I am now. I'm exaggerating now, but you would do it even less than this just to signal a little bit of focus, just like this, a little bit of focus, right? So a little free game for you there. Behavior and energy. There's a cliche kind of in my Christian spaces, like, don't react, respond, because we want to demonize men that react in anger or, do stupid things impulsively, which we should avoid that. But ideally, you do enough inner work, confident enough in who you are, where you can have that instant reaction. And this is tied to one of the capabilities from earlier, quick reaction. If you're second guessing all your reactions and your decisions, you won't be able to think quickly and react quickly in the moment, which is what a confident man, a leader, needs to do. Okay, this is where we're getting into the more moral sides of it. Friendly adoption of those in his space. If I'm like the stereotypical insecure alpha male, oh, I'm an alpha, I'm gonna see a threat behind every tree and bush and be like, oh, this is a new person. I haven't seen them before. All right. I'm sizing everything up as a threat. Now, I'm not saying you should be stupid and naive, but when you're walking into a social setting that's very tame and safe, okay, you want to think about, from a position of security and stability and confidence, adopting everybody under your generosity, provision, and protection. That's what a good leader will do. You're going to approach your interactions from a place of giving and abundance. You're not there to take something from somebody, you're there to give. Okay, that's good leadership. This is short, but it's very powerful. Emergency only threat defense. Okay, the confident alpha male is not usually going to be the chest thumper. When you're bowing up and you're like, ah, don't say that to me. You're mistreating me. You're disrespecting me. What you're doing is you are acknowledging a threat. Anytime you bow up and get defensive, think about that word defensive. What are you defending? You're defending against a threat. Okay? The alpha male, the top dog, who really knows who he is not responding to these little provocations, to insults, to people running their mouths. You know, contrary to proper belief, you don't have to squash every instance of disrespect. The biggest way to crush somebody who's disrespecting you is to completely ignore them. If they're making noise and they need to be shut up, like moving them or moving yourself out of the way, you know, as like a king in a palace or something, right? The biggest flex is just to not acknowledge it. Because when you acknowledge it, you're saying, oh, that is a threat and I do need to deal with it. So I made this little mid-curve meme to demonstrate the point. This is what most people think that confidence looks like. No one disrespects me because I'm a real man. I don't tolerate that. I won't let anyone get away with humiliating me, right? Whereas the people who really have it figured out are the ones who realize whenever someone disrespects me, that's fine because I know who I am. Words can never hurt me. Why? Because I know who I am. If I'm insecure about who I am, then somebody else's words reinforce that insecurity and it threatens me. But if I'm secure about who I am, then their words don't bother me. Disrespect, I don't care. I see a lot of examples of how not to do this in the online content space. Most content creators that are good enough to like hang in there and survive the algorithm and the hate and all these things. And I know a lot of them personally, they're closeted narcissists. Sometimes they're not even closeted, but they're like usually insecure narcissists. You have to be a certain level of weird and crazy to really thrive on the social media landscape. So wrapping up here, internal state of the alpha is consciously present in the moment. His head's not in the clouds, floating around somewhere that he's not. One-on-ones and group guys, you know what this means. Easily flows between heart, head, and body consciousness as needed. Has to do with the alignment. He's not identified with the outcomes. He's confident that if he just does his best, that he can go to sleep at night, whether he wins or loses, whether he gets the girl or doesn't, whether he wins the game or not, etc. And this one is just about he's comfortable. He's chilling no matter what. He can be seen, he can be not seen. Win or lose, he can get rejected or get accepted. He can rock the boat, but he didn't have to. If the status quo is good enough, he didn't have to rock it. He's not always trying to prove something and be somebody, right? He can just be chilling because he didn't have anything to prove. So that is how I would describe an alpha male. And I'm not going to use that term very much anymore, I hope, because it's got too many negative connotations. I don't want to try to redeem that. But as designed by God, I believe an alpha man is a good thing. And it's somebody who, in a certain group, has the most confidence and the most capability. And he doesn't wear that like a crown, but he puts it on his shoulders as a burden, and the burden of responsibility to lead and love and serve and protect those in his care. That is what I would look to as an alpha male. And as men, we should all kind of be aware of like, not in a competing sort of way, but like, hey, is that me? Am I that in this group? Because if I am, maybe I need to step up. Not in an ego-driven way, but, you know, if not me, then who type of way, right? Hopefully that helps, guys. Confidence, alpha male stuff. If you've enjoyed this, be sure to hit the like button. Make sure you guys are subscribed. We're growing in subscribers. Next target is 250 subscribers, so help me get there if you would. Leave a comment below as well. If you're struggling with confidence, if you feel like, dude, I'm freaking insecure, then book a free call with me. Go down, there's a link. I always put links in the description for this. You can make sure you're following on Instagram, but there's also a link there for you to book a free call. It's a 15-minute consultation call. I don't try to pitch anything or sell you anything. We're just there to chat for a little bit, get to know each other, and see if it can help. So if you're struggling with this stuff, let's book a call. I've definitely been on all sides of it, so happy to help however I can. And if not, I appreciate you watching, and we'll see you next time.